I want to welcome all of you all to the Six-Figure Coaching Bootcamp. I'm really, really excited about you being a part of this unique environment. I understand that I did not have the information that I'm going to share with you, that the other people that are on my team are going to share with you over the next 2 days. And I'm really, really excited that it will not take you as long to succeed as it took me to succeed or to turn your first six figures. It is not a difficult task, but there is one thing that you need to be, and that is the one word. You have to be dedicated to this. You have to be dedicated to this. And so I'm really, really excited about the fact that you've already gotten over the hump. Many people may not even realize that it's going to take them to invest their time, their resources, their efforts, and their dreams, and their know-how, and decide that I am going to not only make money off of this, but I'm going to build a thriving business. And so, of course, if you're not familiar with who I am Tia Wilson McQuarrie. I own MadamCEO University.com and MadamCEO Cosmetics, as well as MadamCEO, is a small business advisory and profitability firm here in the northern suburb of Atlanta. And I'm so delighted that you all have, as I said, taken the opportunity to invest in yourself and figure out what is it that I need to do to turn my ideas, my creativity, my experience, my know-how, my passion, my love, my desire for what it is that I do, and how do I turn it into a lucrative money-making business. If you are in the chat, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to do much like we do on my lives. I want you to go on and make sure that you utilize the chat, and I'm going to tell you a few things, and then I'm going to do some giveaways as well. And so I want to make sure that as I'm going over my notes before we started today, I wanted to make sure that I took the time to do what I had in my heart to do. And so I'm going to do a giveaway, and let me tell my assistant what my giveaway is, because I did not tell her what it is. Let's see. Okay, here you go, Jess. All right, so we're going to give you a free gift today. Actually, you're going to get 2 free gifts. She's going to go over one of them when she gets her turn up. And I'm going to introduce you to everybody, no worries. And then what I'm going to do right now, you're going to need something called an archetype builder. If you already have the archetype builder from MadamCEO, put I have it in the chat. If you do not have it, no worries. We're going to make sure that you receive it before the end of the day, but I'm going to go over some things that are essential to you understanding and defining who your customer or your potential customer is going to be. If you have questions, what I want you to do is I want you to save your questions to the last 10-15 minutes of each session. Our sessions will run right around 1 hour long. Because we were waiting for everybody to come in, I have now set my session for 40 minutes. Actually, I'm going to set it for about 35 minutes. And so if Jessica, if you can keep my time for me, I would really appreciate it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Q&A, because I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of questions when I am done with this particular session. Okay. And then I'm going to come back later on. And so here's what we're going to do. And so just so you'll know, we're going to take a little 3-minute break in between each session, so that you can kind of get up and move around, maybe go and take care of some quick business, or get you a beverage or whatever you need to do, and then come right back. So I don't want you to think you're going to be sitting for 3 hours straight. All right. And if I did not say it, because I don't remember if I said it, but I hope that I did, you are going to get a replay. You have to download this replay before our next session, or it will expire and we will not be able to resend it out. Okay. And so please, 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 by all means, once you get the link after the class is over, it should be available about an hour or 2 after the class is over. Please take the time to download it into your space of choice. And then you can get a chance to go back over it. The other thing of it is, I want to make sure that I am letting you know that we are here to support you. If you need any information, if you need any clarity on what we're talking about today, specifically on the products and the services and the information that we're going to be talking about today, you definitely want to make sure that you reach back out to me. My email is MadamCEO ATL@gmail.com. You have gotten emails from me. You, by all means, please take the time and put them in an email. It's so much better, because we can deal with everything line by line and make sure that you have a written trail as to what it is that we're going to respond to you. And then it won't be so difficult to remember, because if you're anything like me, your intentions is to remember everything, but it doesn't work out that way. All right. All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. First off, again, I want to let you know, I want to let you know who's going to be coming before you today. Jessica, are you participating today? No. Okay. And so today you're going to get training from myself You're going to get training from another team member of mine, which is also happens to be my very best friend and my husband. He is a Harvard man, and I am so excited that he's going to come and help you build your customer service base and help you understand how to effectively build that as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, and specifically as a coach, because it's a little different than you do other things. And so make sure you give him your undivided attention. And then I'm going to come back for the third leg of this morning. And then on tomorrow, our facilitators are going to be myself. It is going to be Jessica Taylor, who is the genius behind MadamCEO's think tank and making everything work the way it is, because you're going to need information as to how to, after you are not in front of the people, after you have cut your social media off, or however you choose to reach your customer. We're going to go over all that today and tomorrow. You're going to need to know how to set up things so that you can make money while you are sleeping, while you're tending to the children, while you are working, or maybe you're doing something totally different, but you need to know these systems. And so this is what has given me the opportunity to attain the level of financial success in this field that I have, because I had systems that were working when I was not working. And so she's going to go over that information and how to also give you some other creative ideas on how to get money to come into your business that you may or may not have thought of. And then she's going to show you actually how to do it. So this is going to be quite a bit of hands-on information. And then the next facilitator you're going to have is Mr. Claude Hamilton. He is a person that handles much of what we do in our marketing and our branding department for MadamCEO, for my clients. Not all of my clients, but for many of my clients, and definitely for my company. So he's going to give you some expert advice on what you can do to begin to build the notoriety of your company, because we all know you can have an amazing company, amazing advisory firm, amazing coaching service, but if nobody knows who you are and nobody knows how to get to you, it won't matter. And so he's going to talk about that. And of course, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow about how to get high-paying clients. That is going to actually be a bonus. I wasn't going to do that, but I think I'm going to do it because you guys deserve that. And we're going to give you some other information. And so let's dive right into our session. Is everybody familiar with chat? Is there anybody that is not familiar with chat? Because I'm going to really need you to utilize those things today. I'm going to need you to utilize those things today. All right, so let's get right into it. It's very, very important that as you are starting your business, that you have somebody that you can look to who's already done it successfully. One of the things that I often hear when I talk to people, and I say, you know what, you are so full of wisdom, you are so full of knowledge, you're so full of understanding. Why don't you share what you currently know and become a coach? And the first thing I always hear was, first of three things I always hear: I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and nobody wants to listen to me. Who's going to pay me to tell them something that they probably already know? And so I want to deal with those three things. The first off is that you don't have the time. I'm going to suggest that you always make time for money. It's very, very difficult. I know some of our time is very, very hectic. It's okay. You have to decide that the time that I am exchanging dollars for time, that now I need to exchange wisdom for wealth. And let me say that again. I want you to learn how to exchange not dollars for hours or dollars for time, but wisdom for wealth. You have a whole lot of wisdom that someone needs, even if you think it's common. It's not common to everybody. It's amazing. Some people literally don't know how to make coffee. Guess who doesn't know how to make coffee? I don't know how to make coffee. I tried it. It was horrible. It was burnt. It was a mess. However, if you ask me to make Sunday dinner, I can throw down. See, here's the thing. I know where my limit is, and most people know what their limit is. And so because we are in a sight, sound, and informational generation right now, we need to make sure that if somebody's asking for the information, that we don't downplay the fact that we probably do know how to do things. We just don't understand the value that we bring and how much value it can bring into your pocketbook. So it's going to bring value to your customer, your potential client, and it's also going to bring value to you. And you all often hear me say, whether you know how to, make a good German chocolate cake or a good peach cobbler, or you know how to open up a daycare center, or you know how to paint, or you know how to do events. Regardless of what it is, just because you know how to do it, and to the level that you know how to do it, never assume that someone else knows how to do it at that level, or that they don't want to learn something new. My mom used to say it this way: there's always more than one way to skin a cat. And you have a very, very, I know that's kind of crazy, right? But you have a very, very unique way to do it. So here's the next thing that I often hear. I don't have time to make the money. And also, what was the other thing? I don't have the know-how. Well, here's the thing. Even when I decided to come up with this course, I recognize that so many people, they do have the know-how. They do have the time, but they just don't see how they can carve it out. They may not have the support that they need, but that's why you have people like me that are already here to come on and teach you. And because you're willing to invest, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to make sure that you know everything that I can teach you. And of course, we're going to have another course offering that's going to be available to you for the next step of this journey, because today and tomorrow you're going to be learning how to set up your coaching business. Now let me do this by a show of comments in the comment section. How many of you all have already started coaching, and how many of you all are coaching for pay? If you don't mind putting that in the information in the chat below, I would really appreciate that. Excuse me for coughing. How many of you all are actually active coaches? If you are not, say no. If you are already, say yes. If you are being paid for that, then what I want you to do, I want you to put yes and pay. Okay? Yes and pay. So I'll know who I'm talking to, because I really want to make sure that I'm sharing the information that you're going to need. All right. I think we have seen from from all of you all for the most part. Yes and no pay. No, 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 no. Okay. All right. To those of you who are going to be watching this by replay that are not a part of this amazing live group that's participating today, I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to write me back and let me know, are you being paid for the services or the unique information that you have? So here's the thing. I will say this. Most of the people that are responding, no, you may not be able to see them if you're watching this by replay. Most of them are saying no. Okay. And here's, okay. I saw that, Philip. Most of the people here are saying no. Well, here's the thing. As people, oftentimes we are taught to serve, but we are not taught to retrieve income as a result of how we serve. If you are a Christian, many of you all may be familiar with the scripture. It says that a workman is worthy of their hire. But we've been taught to donate, 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 volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. And realistically, we technically can't take money from people for a specific service if you don't have your business set up. And so one of the things that I'm about to go over with you right now is very important. I understand that I had to learn how to set my business up if I wanted to be received as a legitimate business owner. Now here, even if you are a coach, you might say, well, that's not a business owner. Actually, you are a business owner. It's very, very important that you recognize, again, how to view yourself and what it is that you're going to offer. And so let's dive into the first part, and that is this. First off, you do have what it takes to be successful in this line of business. But you have to decide that I'm going to set my business up legally, and you're going to have to decide the first parts of what kind of business are you going to set up. Now, you may decide that I want to set up a coaching business or advisory service. The thing that's going to give you longevity between yourself and other people who say there's coaches everywhere is the fact that you're going to stay consistent, is the fact that you're going to hang in there and you're going to show up for yourself and for your company, because you already know what you bring to the table. If you are on this session, you already know you have a gift, a talent, know-how, experience that someone else is going to need. You may just not know how to turn it into a monetization opportunity. All right. And so let's look at this, the big setup. You have to have all of your information, set up properly in order for you to be taken seriously, not only by the government, but be taken seriously by your potential customers. Because listen, let me tell you something. Many people, many people are going to check social media, and they may see you on social media, but the really savvy, those people who are serious about spending money with you, before they even spend their money, they're going to check you out. Listen, let me tell you something. And here's a reality. Most people are going to check you out at least 7 times before they decide to spend $1 with you. Whether you are offering a product, whether you are offering a service, they need to know, they need to check around. Why? Because there's so many people out here sharing this space that's called coaching or advisory services, but they're not legitimate. And so I want you to be one of those ones to stand out. And on top of that, you're going to need to have all these things taken care of, because when people know who you are and people start buzzing about you in the media, they're going to check to see if you're a legitimate business. All right. And so what I want you to do is make sure that you come up with a name. Let me give you some suggestions to those of you all who are in a space where everything has to be a religious connotation, or it has to be a political affiliation connotation attached to it. Don't do it. Don't do it, because you don't want to affect your bottom line, and you don't want to offend anyone that potentially can be your client. I think one of the things we have to do, we have to operate in wisdom. Although many of you all may know that I am a retired pastor, I am a bishop in the Lord's church, but when it comes to my business, you cannot tell exactly what my religious affiliations or my political prowess is. You don't know exactly how I feel about certain things unless I actually say them. And so do me a favor, if you are on here, do me a favor, go on and put the name of your company in the chat, because I want to see what names that you have chosen. And I want to give you some wisdom as to if I believe you should change your name. Because here's the thing, if you are not coaching for pay right now, you have not invested into it being a legal entity anyway. And the reason why I'm saying this, and it may be a little harsh, but I'm going to shoot it to you straight, because again, I am going to let you know that many of us have not thought about what our name should be. When we look at a name, people should kind of have an idea of what it is that you do. All right. How many of you all on here also have already set up your company legally? Because I see some of you all on the internet, on live, and I've checked many of you all that are in this class if you are on here live. And I want to, if you all have LLC behind your name, then that means you're already set up as a legal entity. All of you all with LLC behind your name, have you set yourself up with it as a legal entity? All right. All right. Yes, legally. I'm so happy to hear that some of you all have already done that. And so to those of you all who have not, you need to get your EIN number, your federal ID number, your state ID number, and your city registration. Let me say that again. You need to get your EIN number, all right? You're going to make sure that your name is something that easily speaks to what it is that you do, and it is not something that has a religious or a political affiliation attached to it. Now, some of you all may say, well, what if it's a ministry? If it's a ministry, then it will not be okay. If it's a ministry, that is the nonprofit side. So you definitely need to make sure that you set up your 501c3 status, and that you go through the proper channels to get that done correctly. If you don't know how to do it, you need to find someone who can actually do it for you. If you need a recommendation, we have someone in my team that actually does 501c3s, and we can point you in that direction. All right. And so you have to do that. You want to make sure that you get a Dun & Bradstreet number. Just having the information that I am a company, just having your EIN number is not enough. It's going to give you an opportunity to actually establish credit. And even if you are a coaching company, you may want to decide that you want to get credit. You might need credit to host an event, to have the things, maybe build outs for your stages or things like that. They're going to want to see, can we give you a 30-day line of credit to go on and extend to you? Or maybe you need to have something printed. Maybe you need to have some uniforms done. Maybe you need to have some tablecloths done. You just want to make sure, that all of you all are considering the fact that you will, in fact, be in a position when you have a good rating with the DMB, Dun & Bradstreet, that you actually will be able to utilize the credit of your company. If you have not established that, it's something we will talk about another time. But that product actually is available at MadamCEOUniversity.com, and that is Build Your Business Credit Without Using Your Own Personal Credit. We won't get into the ins and outs of that. That's something that's a masterclass that's already been taught, and you can make yourself available to that. But they're going to actually track you like a social security number, but it's for your business credit, and that's what the DMV does. Now, every state is not the same, so you want to definitely check out your local municipalities. You want to check out your local state laws as to how to set up your business. But I want to speak to all of you all who say, well, wait a minute, I haven't made any money. There's always a loophole for that. We're not going into this business with the mindset of what if I don't make any money. So let's take a pin in this real quickly. It's very, very important that if you're going to start a business, that you have the mindset of increase. It's very, very important that you go into this business believing and knowing not only am I going to set this business up, but it's going to be successful. Let's do testimony time. I remember when I started MadamCEO over 3 years ago, and I never forget, after I was coming out of the pastorate, and I was trying to figure out, what was I going to name my company? And so actually I got 3 people over, and 2 people over, and I said, hey, I want to start this consulting company, and I want to help people build their businesses. I want to help small business owners. I want them to help them scale their businesses, and those who desire to understand how to do ministry how to build their ministry successfully. I want to do those things. Now, my aim has changed a little bit, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But one of the things that was very, very strategic is that I had a name that was reflective of that. I needed to have a name that was something that respected in the marketplace, and Madam is respected. It's not M-A-D-A-M-E. That is the other kind of Madam. I'm not that kind of girl, but it is like you would see Madam President or Madam Secretary. It is a person that is in charge. And then we understand what CEO is, okay? And so the Chief Executive Officer, my job is to come as the authority, as the female authority, and let you know that as a CEO, I'm going to teach you how to do the same thing. And that's the way we came up with the name for MadamCEO. So again, as you are choosing your name, think it through very, very carefully and run it by some people who have a business mind, who will just be honest, and don't be married to the name. Do not be married to the name if you already have gotten one. Even if you say, well, you know what, this is what God's spoken to my heart. I'm not quite sure when God spoke it, but you want to make sure this is what he wants you to call that company right now. I'm saying that because I've had many people to say, you know, well, this is the idea. This is what was in my heart, but it was an idea they had 20 years ago. And it was kind of antiquated, but it was actually necessary for back then. So they just had to do an updo, kind of like when you see Coca-Cola, they change the way they look. They may change their packaging. They may change the fonts that they use. And so this is what you always want to be mindful of. And then I want you to definitely consider trademarking your name, trademarking your tagline. Now, my tagline is, I turn your creativity into currency and your brilliance into a money-making business. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but I want you to think about the fact that you're going to need a tagline that speaks to swiftly what it is that you do. You're giving a promise to the person who may have never even encountered you or want to know, well, what are they talking about? What do they offer? Okay, I know that and if you need help with a tagline, that's something that we can help you with. No worries. Don't worry about it, because some of y'all are probably freaking out right now. I can't think of anything. You don't have to do it right now, but I just want to have it in your things to do, on your things to do list. All right. The next thing that you're going to have to do when you're setting up your company, you're going to have to have your bank account. You need to have at least 2 bank accounts. One that's for savings and one is for checking. Of course, you want to have your personal, professional insurance. So you want to check with a, insurance company and just inquire. Let them know you are doing an inquiry only. Specifically, if you are doing an inquiry with the company you already have your own personal insurance with, but you want to look up professional insurance companies and see what it is that they offer and what type of coverage will be best suited for your budget, okay? And then you're going to get a launch sequence, all right? If you're going to do things legally, you want to get a launch sequence. How long will it take you to get your DNB? How long will it take for you to get your EIN number? How long will it take for you to set up a time where you're going to actually talk to your friends and get their feedback on the name of your company? How long will it take for you to get your trademark? If you need a trademark attorney, I actually have my trademark attorney, and I will share her with you. Her name is Dominique Price, Esquire. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her everywhere. But I will have the information that I will give to you to make sure that you have it. Her services are right around $900, but that's going to ensure that if anybody tries to use your name for a like service, that they will be sued. She will go after them, and she will make sure that your brand is totally covered and taken care of, because the last thing you want is people going around using your name if they are having the same type of service. Now, let me give you an information right here, and then we're going to move forward. If you have a name like, let's just use my name, MadamCEO, and I am selling, like I had to do MadamCEO Cosmetics. Someone could have came and said, I want to do MadamCEO Cosmetics. Well, they could have, but because I had already trademarked it, they can't do it. But as long as I'm in the same, as long as they're in the same field as what you are using your name for, just say if they want to do MadamCEO Car Wash or concierge service, then they actually by law can do that. But as long as they're not doing what you're doing and based on what your attorney or what you have decided that the governing areas that your company is going to cover, that is what they will not be able to use and what they can be actually prosecuted for. And that's the other reason why you're paying your attorney, because that's what they do. They make sure that that name is protected. All right. So let's get back into our notes. What did I just do? My notes. Wow. Where did they go? Okay, here they are. All right. So once we get everything set up correctly, and we establish that we're not going to have a bootleg business, let's look at what type of coach am I going to be? By going into the chat, let me know, what type of coach are you thinking about becoming? Because there's so many ways that you can go, so many things that you can go into. Let's just look at it this way. Okay. All right. Let's just look at it this way. You can be a relationship coach if you have been successful and weathering, getting through a divorce, and you are not still broken, not still hurt, and you have already started dating or already remarried, then you may be a great candidate for that. But here's the thing. You have to understand, you have to handle this professionally. You don't want to go and give out all of your information. You want to give the principles and the practices that's going to get to the person that is going to, that you're going to provide the service to, or the service to. You're going to be their coach or their advisor. You want to make sure that you're able to give them a sequence of steps. All right. That you're going to give them a sequence of steps that they're going to be able to follow. Okay. Hopefully you're following me. Excuse me. You're going to give them a sequence of steps they're going to be able to follow to get to an intended goal. And so if you're teaching about relationships and you're going to offer a 6-week class, and I know I'm skipping ahead, but just rock with me for a little bit. You're going to offer a 6-week course. So if somebody's going to be coaching with you, or you're going to be giving them advice or wisdom or expertise, and sharing how to do something, even as a subcontractor where you're going to be teaching or facilitator, you want to make sure that you don't interject too much of your personal business, because you want to be seen as a professional and a sound-minded, non-emotional, not emotionless, but not emotionally driven expert. Okay. And so if you might want to think, if you're excellent at finances, if you're excellent at putting a budget, then you might want to consider being a financial advisor or coach. Now, if there are certain legal things that you're going to need certifications, you might want to go and take those classes, and many classes are actually offered online. And I cannot promise you're going to be free, because many of the free classes, they're really not worth your time. They're just wanting to resell you or upsell you something. And that's fine. But you also need to understand there's information that you're going to need. And so you might want to take a class, but I would suggest that you just pull out of the wealth of information that you already have, because you don't need to know everything right now. You just need to know what your client needs to learn. Okay. So perhaps you want to specialize, especially if you're in a large metropolis like I am. You might want to decide that you want to be a leadership executive or celebrity coach. And those are life coaches, where you're teaching them how to transition from one way of living to another, or maybe transition from one type of business to another. Maybe they were a professional in corporate America, but they no longer. Now they're transitioning into a private sector space, or maybe they're transitioning into being their own solopreneur, entrepreneur, maybe a speaker. You want to give them a specific, you want to find your specific niche. One of the other things that I found and that's one of the higher paying, more lucrative teaching, coaching, advisory service platforms or arenas. Okay. And that is the celebrity, leadership, and executive level coaching and advisory services. Perhaps you want to be a small business coach. That's what I am. Maybe you want to specialize, like I do, in entrepreneurism, the business development, and small business development. These are things that I know is my lane. And it's very, very important that you stay in your lane. Because if you're all over the place, nobody's going to take you seriously, okay? You might want to consider, even if you are good at working in an office, some of you all are absolutely phenomenal. You have made your company where you work at right now what it is because of the simple fact that the things that you implemented, the things that you know how to do. I'm going to suggest that you consider the fact that perhaps what you know how to do in an office environment is actually something that people are going to need. Now, whether you may know it or not, within the next I think they said within the next 10 months, many companies are going to be going over to the 2020 initiative. And one of those things, one of the pieces of the 2020 initiative is that they cut down some of the services or the cost of the services that they have in-house, and to start outsourcing. So what happens to your department when your department gets furloughed? What do you do when they no longer need your company and they send the business overseas so they can get it done cheaper? Or here's the biggest thing, because we want it definitely, they're really, really pushing here in the US that you use businesses that are already US businesses, because you're going to get certain perks. Okay. And that's the one thing that our president, like him or hate him, has put some things into position, and that is for business owners. And so this is a great time to start a business. All right. So you want to understand that they are looking for, companies are now starting to look for smaller companies or service providers that will give them the same benefits of having that particular type of business within their company, and now they can subcontract them out. And so this is a great way to do that too. And just so that you'll also understand, the government themselves, the entity, the government, are always looking for entrepreneurs that they can actually give governmental contracts, but you need to be certified. If you want to know more information about that, I can connect you with the person who handles that. They actually do the training, and you will actually love it. And what you may not know is that many of you all have services. As long as you set your entity up correctly, you have services that the government will not only pay you, but they will train you to provide them the kind of exact service they want from you, and then you just give it back to them. It's the craziest thing, but they're doing it by the multi-millions of dollars, and they have no shortage. So don't just think that your client is only going to be maybe somebody you know for social media, somebody that works in your office, somebody that comes recommended to you. One of your largest clients can actually be the United States government. Just a little FYI. All right. And so let's look at this. Let's figure out, who am I drawn to? Because many of you all say, I think I know what kind of coach I want to be, but I don't know, am I really drawn to that coach, that particular type of coaching field? Some of you are drawn to things that you don't really like. Say if you don't have a whole lot of patience with people, I don't know if doing something that's really out in front, customer service may be your thing. Maybe you can provide external support that handles more of the inward stuff where you don't have to deal with people. Because some people, they just don't like dealing with people, not because they have a bad attitude, but because perhaps they're shy, or they don't feel confident about their parents, or maybe they have something that they don't like the way they speak. That's not a reason. Understand this, and I want to tell you this quickly. When I started my company, I was still getting over the glitches and the tics from having a stroke. I've had 3 strokes. And I told myself, you can't do this because people are going to get distracted. They're going to start looking. But the reality of it is, people are not listening to me because I have a tic. And they're not going to turn me off because I have a tic. They're going to listen to me because I'm giving them value. And that's the thing. Who is the group of people that you can give the most value to? Who is it that you connect to? Who are you drawn to? Who are you drawn to create relationships with? If you know that you have an affinity for moms or single moms, if you know you have affinity for people who are in ministry, if you know you have affinity for people who like doing things for youth or for the homeless, if you know you have an affinity for people who love setting up businesses or having business, and maybe they're a serial entrepreneur, or maybe you cater specifically. Let me tell you something. People who are excellent at team building and really, really great at leadership development, don't leave out that multi-level marketing, direct sales piece. That group, they're always looking for ways to build their team, to stand out from the rest. You may know how to do those things. If you're one of those competitive people, if you're always creative, that might be an area or a niche you want to look into, because you definitely want to redefine what area that you are going to service. Because I often tell my clients, listen, you cannot serve everybody, and everybody is not going to be your client. Everybody's not going to like you. They're not going to like your tone of your voice. They may not like the color of your skin. They may not like your colorful vernacular. And let me encourage all of you all, do not be a cussing coach. Do not be. Let me tell you why. As I started my company, I was looking for coaches that I knew would be able to give me the support that I needed. But all the ones that I really looked to, that I knew had the information, they cussed like sailors. And it immediately immediately turned me off. And I'm like, gosh, where am I going to go? Who am I going to turn to if everybody is so loose with their mouth? I'm professional. I'm used to a professional environment. When I'm doing my MadamCEO, the courses, the classes, unless you're at the mountaintop with me and we're having just a retreat, you're going to hear me be a little bit more relaxed. But I need to make sure, no, it's not over for you. I need you to make sure that you handle everything in a professional way. And if you just have some colorful language, just make sure that you don't do it on camera, or you don't do it while your client is on the phone. You do not want to be the kind of person that is seen, or your name is smudging because you could not keep a professional type of behavior. Okay. Now, the next thing, if you want to write me a note, you can. You need to write me a note. Okay. The next thing I want to let you know, you want to figure out how you're going to target your client, okay? But let's know who they are first. And this is why we're going to send you the archetype builder. You need to know, who is your client. Now, you might say, I don't know. I don't have my client yet. Okay, great. This is not a problem. Even if you don't have your client, let's start here. I had to figure out who I wanted my client to be. It's the person that is going to respond is going to respond to what it is that the type of service that I give. I give small business development. I give ministerial development services or church growth development services. And so I'm not over trying to teach you how to do something different unless it's MadamCEO Cosmetics. And even then, I'm not doing training on how to do makeup that's paid. Okay. Now, you want to consider, who are they? Let's look at who they are. We want to look at the alpha, what did I call them? The archetype buildup of your particular client. That this is a make-believe client, but this is an ideal client, so you can be able to identify who you need to be servicing. Now, this was a very difficult thing for me to do. It probably is easy for you to do, but I had to figure it out on my own, because I'm like, everybody is my client. No, everybody is not. And your family members are not. So please get that out of your head right now. So let's look at the psychographics, the geographics, and the demographics. Your psychographics, your geographics, and your demographics. I know I'm kind of talking kind of fast, so let me slow it down just a little bit. Your archetype builder, yes. And so your psychographics, your geographics, and your demographics, all right? This is going to give you the sum total of your ideal customer, all right? Your psychographics, you want to understand how they think. The geographics, you want to know where they live, and the demographics, how much money they make, what do they spend, what their spending habits. So let's look at this. You want to know their gender, all right? And I'm going to actually send this to you. Jessica, can we do that before you get started? Send it to everybody's email? Mm-hmm. Okay, so don't go right now, but you're gonna see all this that I'm telling you. It's gonna look familiar, all right? So you want to know their gender. Some people only service women. I serve women and brilliant men. Okay. If you're not a brilliant man, I don't serve you. Okay. And ladies, let me help you understand, and gentlemen that are going to be watching this video either live or by replay, please do not play into your gender to create a buzz for your business, because the same way you enter is the same way you have to maintain. All right. So you want to know their gender. You want to know their age. You want to know their relationship status. Are they single? Are they married? Are they widowed? Are they divorced? You want to know if they have children. If they have children, how many children do they have, and what ages? And why am I saying this? Because you're going to need to know how much money that they have to spend with you. Because if I'm a single mom and I'm making, let's say I'm making $50,000 a year, but I'm spending about 25 of that in my bills and let's see, daycare or school, and that's all the money I have. That means that they're not going to be a client if you're having a $5,000 course. But she may be your client if you do a $99 course. And so you need to know all of these things about your prospective ideal client. You can name your client if it's a male. You can name your client as a female. I have a name for my client, my ideal client. Does she exist? Yeah, I've actually ran across her, and several times, as a matter of fact. And so she didn't have that name, of course, but she fit all of the molds. So I knew that this was going to be a perfect marriage. All right. You want to know their religious preferences, specifically if you know that you're going to say something that could potentially offend someone. And so you know how to say it correctly. And or if you are going to deal with something that's specific to a religious group or a religious environment or a religious mindset. Okay. And so when I mean religious, I mean as in if they're Muslim, if they're Catholic, if they're agnostic, if they're Jewish, if they're Christian, even if they're Catholic, they're still Christian. But please know that many Catholics do not consider themselves Christian for whatever reason. All right. So please be mindful of that. But you're going to need to know who they are. You're going to also need to know their educational level. You're going to need to know, did they go to college? Did they go to trade school? This is important, because if you start speaking in a language that's not familiar with them, you're going to lose them, and you don't want to alienate anybody, because you want to take them on a journey with you. One of the things of being successful in any type of advisory service, mentoring service, teaching service, educational platform building, any kind of trainer, anything like that, you always want to remember, I'm taking people on a learning journey. I'm taking them on an exposure journey, and I've got to know where to start my journey. If you're starting, it's so funny. I see sometimes I have colleagues that are in ministry, and literally to sit down and talk to them, you need a thesaurus. You don't know what they're saying. You need a dictionary. You need the whole Encyclopedia Britannica, and you need to have Google pulled up. because it's like, can you just speak in regular English? Can you not use the larger words? You know, can you keep it simple? It's 10 o'clock at night. I'm taking this class and I've been working all day. My brain is fried and I really don't feel like looking up anything. And so I want you to think about that. All right. Think about their educational level. Think about their salary, because, you know, many people, this is very, very important when you're building a business. If people cannot afford you, they won't be able to use your services, no matter how amazing you may be. You want to think about, do they rent? All right. Do they rent, or do they own their home? Are they investors, real estate investors? You want to know, because they look beyond what I currently need for my 4 and no more. No, I think about expansion. And so you can actually talk to them about other expansive opportunities that you're going to offer in this particular arena that you're going to be doing. What part of the country do they live in? I have a different mindset if I live in West Virginia than I do if I live in Miami. I have a different mindset if I live in New York than if I live in Atlanta. If I live in Kansas City, I have a different mindset than I do if I live in, let's see, Rhode Island. All right. And so you want to know where they live. All right. You also want to know the state and city, specifically if you're going to be doing some specific targeting to that unique group of people that are only in that area. Say if you're doing a live event, people may not want to fly in. So you need to know specifically, even on social media, because social media, if done correctly, will actually tell you where all of your viewers are coming from. You will know exactly where to go and what to speak to them. Because if you're going to talk to them about, let's just say, if you're going to talk to them about making time, personal time for themselves, and you're telling them they need to go on a vacation, you know, chances are, if they're living up in Wisconsin and it's winter, they're not really thinking about a vacation. They're probably just trying to think of, how am I going to just get through this winter? Or maybe they are thinking about that and you're wanting to move their minds to the summer or the next time they get a break. All right. So I'm just trying to give you some ideas. All right. So we're going to get into some questions in just a minute. So get your questions geared up. We still have a lot of information to go. Oh my goodness. We have so much information to go before I'm even done. All right. We're going to get through 3 hours of training today. I promise you, but I'm trying to stuff 6 hours of information in one setting. Jessica, I can't see your face, and so because of the light.
No, I was just like,
okay. All right. So this is one of my concerns, because I always overgive too much information, but I wanted to make sure that you were full of information. Okay. The next thing you want to know about their social interactions. Where do they frequent? Where do they go to dinner? What kind of places do they go to? Do they go to Applebee's or do they go to Capitol Grill? We're talking about two different types. Doesn't mean just because you go to Applebee's that you don't go to Capitol Grill, but a Capitol Grill, a person is actually they're looking for fine china. They're looking for linen. They have a higher expectation than you would if you're going to Applebee's or you're going through the drive-thru of Wendy's. Okay. And so again, you want to get into the mind of the person that potentially can be your customer, your client. All right. And then not only where do they go frequently, but where do they shop? Why do I care about where they shop? Because if you know that all the ladies, if you're familiar with Fashion Nova, Fashion Nova is one of the largest growing retail brands because they're catering to millennials. They have inexpensive clothing that fits the curvy woman or the woman that's not, maybe an athletic build. And they fit very well. Now, I don't know how long they last, but some of the clothes, they look cute and, it works. Well, here's the thing. They have figured out that if I know that my potential client shops at Fashion Nova, I may be able to partner with them. Because when I'm making a post, I might have on a top that comes from Fashion Nova. I can hashtag Fashion Nova. It's going to come up, but I'm actually offering a coaching service. So I want you to think about it that way. All right. So everything goes together. Even where do they travel? What are their top 3 television shows? Again, this person you don't know this person, but you're making it up. So if somebody said, okay, I'm going to build archetype on me. Okay, I know for me, I like watching Dish Nation. I like watching The Housewives of Atlanta. I like watching the Steve Show. I like to watch shows that I don't have to think too hard, but then I also love watching CNN and The View because I like to get other people's takes on different things that are going on in the world, politically, what's going on in social media, what's going on just every single day. And so I want to be able to not only veg out and just look at stupid TV, but I also want to watch something that may inform me. So I'm going to watch CNN. All right. And I'm going to watch, I love watching Roland Martin. All right. All right. So, somebody went on. Okay, there we go. Thank you for muting your phone. All right. And so you want to think about those things, because just in case, you can go and you can advertise to a specific sector. If somebody, especially on social media, if you're using hashtags, again, we're targeting our audience, and social hashtags is one of the ways we target our audience on all social media platforms, Facebook included. And I don't know why I don't see many more people using hashtags, because their space and their engagement would, their engagement would definitely grow, but people just don't think about using it. All right. But you want to think about, who can I attach my brand to just by mention of hashtag? Who can I attach my brand to? When you all see pictures of me and Pastor Scott, we always have business developer. You always see where it says bespoke. You always see small business builder. You always see Blacks Who Blog, because I want people who are part of the Blacks Who Blog group to take notice that, wait a minute, she keeps popping up. Who is this girl? You want people to know who you are, okay? And then you want to know the social media platforms that they're on. And let me tell you why that's important. Because as of today, here's the numbers. On Facebook, there's 152 billion active users on Facebook. On Snapchat, I know some of you might say, what is a Snapchat? That's for the kids. Kids spend money because they like flossing. Don't leave them out. Don't assume that they know how to do something, and don't assume that they have parents or they've had the education to tell them what to do. They're always looking for the way to come up with the hustle. And many of them realize that college is not for them. So they need to have people just like you that will give them some wisdom, some expertise, and some insight on how to do things in a very, very strategic way, well thought out, to get to the goal and do it very quickly. Okay. And that's one of the great things that coaching services offer. But Snapchat has 84.8 million users. I became one of those users last night. Even if it's just for the filters, which are phenomenal, y'all. All right. IG has 800 million users. Instagram, they have a projected 111 million user. They're expecting that by the end of 2019. Even if you got a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of that group to spend time with you, you need to understand that can pay off huge for your business. I grew my MadamCEO brand off of Facebook, Periscope, and Instagram. Now, when you go on there, I have more users and followers on Facebook than I have on any of my other platforms. But my platform for Instagram and for even LinkedIn and even for Periscope is very, very targeted. I don't need to have 20 million followers if only 4,000 of them are going to be participants in what I'm doing or interested. I need to target that, and we're going to talk about that when I come back, I believe. All right, I want you to think about this. Even professionally, LinkedIn has 590 million active users, and 154 million of those are from the United States alone. That means about 2 people per second are joining in on LinkedIn. Why am I mentioning this? Because if you're going to build a real business, if you're going to understand what it is that your potential client or customer does, who they listen to, where do they go for information, you need to know that you are in the very middle of all of that information. So that means that we're going to have to take the time to set up some kind of social media following. Where if you don't have a professional page, you want to consider one. If you say, well, you know what, I have most of my followers on my personal page, drive them over to a regular page, because that's where you can do your ads. Now, that's another training for another day, but doing ads is going to be a great way for you to get in the face of people who do not follow you. And in case you don't know, let's just use some of the statistics for Facebook. Only about 6 to 8% of the people that you're actually friends with or follow you only see your posts. It's not until you have either a video, you have something that's moving, you have engagement, which means you're asking questions, maybe polling, maybe you're doing a live, where people are actually responding to you. That's what makes your engagement go up, and that makes Facebook know, or Instagram, which is the same company, it makes them know that they need to expose you to more people, or you do an ad. And you can do an ad easy for $5 a day, or if you have a budget, you can do like I do, and you can do an ad for about $50 a day, and you can just do it for 3 days. Well, here's the thing. Why would I do that? Because people need to know about what service you provide. They need to know about your expertise. They need to know about your wisdom. They need to know about your insight. They need to know who you are. All right. Now, I am actually over time for this particular part of the session. And so I think what I'm going to do, no, you know what? I really want to finish this part. I really want to finish this part. I don't want to leave you all just in a gap, and then introduce my the other facilitator. If you could tell Pastor Scott, we're going to be ready for him in just a little bit, okay? And so let's look at this. Let's look at what problem do I solve? Because in order to really reach and maximize what you're going to learn, or how you're going to use that archetype builder, you need to also know not only about them, you need to know about you. What problem are you really solving? Ask that question. What problem, with the service that you're going to provide, with the teaching that you're going to lend to other people, with the expertise, with the advice you're going to give to people now for pay, what type of a problem do I solve? For me, I solve the problem of people learning from A to Z how to start their business, to how to launch their business, how to create products and services that people are actually going to that people are actually going to need. Okay. And so I know for me, I turn your creativity into a currency. All right. I turn your brilliance into a money-making business. If you're already brilliant, I'm already acknowledging the fact that you already have an idea, but if it's not turning into a money-making business, it's just information that you happen to have that's brilliant. My job is to help you get to a specific point. What problem am I solving? The problem that you have is you need information on how to become an entrepreneur. You need to have products and services that are going to bring you an extra income. I'm the person to do it. So I want you to think about the very same thing. What problem do you solve? And I want you to have a very clear message. Again, you do not serve everybody. Everybody is not your client. You've got to be very, very specific. Even if you're creative like me, I can do 50 million things. Not really, but at least 20. Okay. You might be one of those people where you have expertise in different fields. Right now, we're going to focus on maybe one or two, and those two need to be companion things. If I am going to be a trainer, if I'm going to be an advisor, I'm going to be a coach on business, there's a business side to ministry. So it was easy for me to incorporate the ministry side as well. And so understand, whatever you're going to do, if you're going to be teaching things that have to do with HR development or strategic office development or protocols or certifications and things like that, you also may want to consider bundling together customer service and training customer service so they can know how to operate in the program that you created that particular company has hired you to come in and train in. So don't just train in how do I get certified, also train on how do I take that and turn it into another product or service that company can offer. Do y'all understand that? If that makes sense, put yes in the comments. If it doesn't make sense, put no in the comments so I can give you a little bit more clarity if that makes sense. All right. And so I want you to have a very clear message, and I want you to stay in your lane. Don't be all over the place because you got inspired by somebody else that's doing what you're doing. Stay in your lane. When I decided I was going to do MadamCEO Cosmetics, I did not want to go into skincare. That's not my thing. I'm not getting into skincare because I don't want to run the risk of having to deal with people's outbreaks and getting sued. It's just that simple. And so you need to stay within your concentrated lane and then examine all the places that you can move in your concentrated lane. And I'm going to tell you something. When people know that you can stay focused, they take you seriously. And the more serious they take you, the more you get them to a point where they can know, like, and trust you. When they know, like, and trust you, they will spend their money with you. All right. And so I want you to have a clear message, stay in your lane. And I want you to set some boundaries for yourself and for your potential clients. Do not be that kind of person. Well, because I want to own up my advisory service that, that I'm going to let my clients call me at 10 o'clock at night. You can call, but I'm not answering. You can send me an email, but my business hours are thus and so. All right. My business hours are very specific because many of you all are working a regular job or a traditional job, and you're going to now start this new coaching or advisory business or service. You need to make sure that you make time for this money, and you need to make sure, yes, sips tea, and you need to make sure that not only you're making time for this money, but you are making it in a way where you don't feel overwhelmed. Because if you're already handling family, you're already doing ministry, you already have a job, you're already, taking the kids to soccer practice or ballet practice, or you're already involved in another social environment, you've got to make money. You've got to make time. And so you have to know, okay, if I'm coaching, I'm an evening coaching. This is a great way for you to get started because many people that need to learn how to transition or start to do what you're doing, they don't have time to do it in the daytime. And so if you do it after 6 o'clock, you will probably get more clients. All right. You'll have your daytime clients, but you want to think really, really hard about your evening clients. All right. So if you can start your services at 6 o'clock and go to 9 o'clock, that will be great. And eventually, if you can have a day off or you want to do Saturdays where you take clients all day, or you do Sundays where you take clients from 4 to 9, I'm sorry, from 4 to 8. Don't ever do business unless they're in another country after 8 o'clock. All right. I'm telling you this because what happens, especially if you're going to be a life coach in any kind of way, people start spilling their guts and their time gets away from them. And before you know it, you've charged them for an hour. You've been talking to them for 2 hours. Okay. Don't be afraid to get your money either. Get your money, get your money, get your money. All right. So, so let's look at this. Okay, if I've set my boundaries for my clients and when I'm going to do my business, I know what area I'm going to be setting my expertise towards. I know what it is that they like. I know their language. I know their spending habits. I know the range of their children. I know what they like to watch. I know if they travel or not. I know their mindset because they're coming to me for a specific niche. Now I need to figure out what is my teaching style. What do they respond to? If I know that I'm watching, most of my people are a love and hip hop generation, then they're probably more a more relaxed urban environment mentality people. All right. But if I know that most of my people are watching CNN, they are watching Entrepreneur Weekly, they're watching the world news, then they're probably a little bit more reserved. They're probably a little bit more conservative. And so I need to know what is my teaching style. And one of the things that I often talk to, even when training people who are in ministry, it's very, very important that you understand that you don't go and try to mimic someone else. Be authentic to who you are. Get your own style, but be the very best presenter that you can. Now I'm going to be doing something on a speaking platform on how to really, really be comfortable in front of people. That's going to be another course for another day, Jessica. But I do want to let you know that's going to be coming up because you all need to learn how to be comfortable, but you need to know how to speak to your potential audience and to the audience who have already reached out to you. But know what your teaching style is. Know, if you're one of those comfortable people, if you're sitting around drinking tea, or if you created a set like one of the sets that I have, this is my office, but one of the sets that's out there where you see my backyard, or you might see wallpaper. You want to think about that. Get a designated place that you can do that. All right. But I want you to think about, where's my ink pen? Okay. I forgot one thing. I want to make sure I talk to you all and about when my next section comes up. Okay. But I want you to think about what is going to be your teaching preference. What's your teaching preference? Do you like to teach online? Do you like to teach in a pre-recorded session? Because some of you all, I know you're shy.'ve already reached out to me and said, you know what, I want to do the coaching, but I'm kind of shy. Can I do this and not have to talk to a person one-on-one? Yes, you can. You can actually, like when you guys got on today, you all did not see me. You can actually do a one-on-one where you can just hear you only. But I'm going to suggest, if you are still kind of worried about how you're going to be interpreted, again, stop worrying about that. Put your best foot forward. Some of the most affluent and successful people that are in this coaching space, they are not what you would see at a beauty pageant. I'm one of those people. I'm a regular girl who just does what she does, and I don't worry about that, because those people who worry about that stuff over there, if I stutter, all that kind of stuff, they're not my client. My job is to speak the language of the people that I'm supposed to serve. And I understood that when I started talking about women and men who are transitioning from ministry into business, women and men who are transitioning and maybe they're retiring, women or moms, I should say, moms are women, moms who need to bring extra money and income into their household. I knew specifically their language. I've been in ministry transition. I know what it's like to leave corporate America. I know what it's like to be a single mom. I also know what it's like to have toddlers in the house and you're trying to figure out a new thing that you can do because you're bored and you don't want to hear Barney or Daddy Shark anymore, or Baby Shark, or whoever the shark is that I'm hearing everybody singing to. All right. And so I knew who those groups were. So I want you to look at that. What is your teaching preference? What is your style? All right. And so, thank you, sweetheart. And so I want you to think about this. What's your teaching preference? What are you going to do one-on-one coaching? When I started off by doing one-on-one coaching. And can I tell you guys what the mistake that I made? I would do
one-on-one coaching where I would meet you, because I figured if I did, if I met you, then it would be better. But guess what? I started limiting myself to only the people that I can get to, or the people who could afford to bring me out to where they were, or the people that were locally here. Well, that's not where most of my customer base was. It wasn't here in Atlanta. All right. It was actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, in Orlando, Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in Houston, Texas, in Nashville, in St. Louis, in New York, New Jersey, and Cleveland, Ohio, and then Atlanta. So what was I going to do to reach all those people? I had to do something. And so I realized that I needed to do not interactive face-to-face, where I'm actually touching the person. So I only had one person that I actually had that I had to go seal the deal. She was very corporate minded, and that I do make the exception, but that was just the way she was. And immediately she paid me $5,000 on the spot. That was my first client. Yeah, my first one. She didn't know if I could coach or not, but she knew that she had heard me because I had already built up that like, know, and trust factor by sharing what I knew on live. Some of you all have ever watched MadamCEO Live. How many of y'all ever used to watch MadamCEO Live when I used to come on in the morning and I used to give business nuggets on what to do and how to set up your companies and all that stuff? The information is no longer out there. We cut it all off. So y'all can't go back and see what I taught. It was good. However, I decided I didn't want to do it that way any longer, that one-on-one, let's meet. So we started doing on Zoom, where you can do it like this. Is a great platform to use, and there's a paid version of this. But what I would do is I would actually do the Zoom, and then I would have a recorded version of it, and I would send the link, much like I'm gonna send the link to you all after we're done with this class, so they can review everything, and then the link would expire. And then it got to the point where some of my clients was like, I don't want you to see me at all. I said, okay. So we would pick up the phone, and I would do my phone consultations, and I started with a discovery session where I would sit down for 45 minutes to an hour, and I would discover what their problem is and see if we would be a good match. So I had to develop that style, what works for me. And so you might want to think about that. You may not call it a discovery session, but that's only when you are discovering. You're not giving solutions, you're only discovering. And then when you have an execution section, or what do we call it? What do we call it? It's not the discovery session. What do we call it?
Strategy.
The strategy session. That's when I take what you've told me, the problems that you have, and I come up with a step-by-step solution to how to get you to a goal. Let's come up with a strategy. You need to build some products. We need to build some marketing campaigns. We need to launch a business. We need to relaunch something. We need to scale something. This is the plan on how we're gonna do it. And now what I do now, I no longer do I shouldn't say I no longer do one-on-ones. That's not the truth. I used to do one-on-ones all the time, where I would either talk to a person on the phone or we would do it by Zoom. I don't do that anymore. All right. I shouldn't say anymore. I do them, but I only do it for specific clients that are paying a certain amount of money, because I know that they are serious. I had let me say this, my discovery sessions were $150. I charged $150 an hour. But for a year and a half, an introductory price, I had it for $49. So people who look like me, who are not familiar with the coaching sector, they could become familiar with me. And $49 was not much of an investment. It may have been for a lot of people, but it wasn't much of an investment that they would say, you know what? I felt like I took a loss. None of my clients ever took a loss. If you've ever been one of my clients, you already know I'm going to bend back your brain. I'm going to pour in so much information. You're going to be like, I'm set. I know exactly what to do. So I had that for $49, and we did that for about a year and a half of that campaign. And then after that, I went to $300. And so if somebody wants to sit down and have a one-on-one with me now, I'm $300. But how am I able to ask for that much? I couldn't do it at first because people they knew me, they liked me, but they didn't trust me to get the receipts. So I had to come back and I had to say, okay, let me go to the people that they've already paid me or have already rendered my services to and get me some testimonies. And I put those testimonies up on my website. I put those testimonies out there from time to time on social media. Or if somebody says, well, can you give me a recommendation, somebody I can talk to? Hey, this is the person, this is what their recommendation is. And you feel free to go on social media, reach out to them and ask them what their experience was like. And then I didn't have to worry about that, and clients start coming. But I did not just rely on referral. I kept my face ever before people so that I made sure that new people got introduced to me. I gave people the power to push the share button. I gave people the power to have a link where they can send it to somebody else or email it. And so I had to decide that was going to be my teaching preference. I was going to utilize social media, and I was going to do one-on-ones, but I was going to utilize Zoom or the phone. I was not going to do that face-to-face thing. And on top of that, it's very, very dangerous. All right. I don't know why I was thinking that was okay, but unfortunately I was in a professional environment, and I'm going to be talking to you on our next sector also about pricing your products, you're creating your product and service, and where to do your business. All right. So I want you to also think in terms of this. You spend less time and get more done when you can do group coaching. All right. In the comments on the side, can you please let me know in chat if you're considering doing one-on-ones or group coaching? Everybody's different. Everybody, you know, just depends on what you like doing. Every client of mine does not want to be in a group. But then I have people who are actually saying, no, I want to be in a group. And if I need to do one-on-one, then we'll do both. Or they'll say, you know, no, I just want to do one-on-ones. And so let me know, because group coaching, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to get off of this. Group coaching can actually work out better for you in terms of time management, because you can have everybody who has one idea, who has very similar questions or solutions that they need from you, and you can talk from that standpoint. Just like I'm talking to you all in a group, I don't have to do this one by one by one by one. So instead of having, you know, 30 people who want to know the same information, I can get everybody in one space and we can talk and we can grow, and then together. And then the questions that each individual asks may be beneficial to the other people that are participating. And so you want to also know what is your schedule going to look like, your coaching schedule. Like I said, you need to know what days and what hours you're going to do. And I did give that information. And then you're going to need to know that you're going to need to have a team that's going to support you. And that brings you to me. And then we're going to stop right here, because we're going to start back with pricing and growth expectations, how to set up your business. Do you need a brick and mortar? We're going to get back to that after I introduce Pastor Scott. But I see many of you all are saying one-on-one. Some of you all are saying you want to do both. Some of you all are saying you want to do group coaching. You have to figure out what's best for you. And of course, you'll be able to find out during all these classes that what platforms work for you. Jessica Taylor, she's going to come from Taylor Content Writing Services. She's going to come tomorrow and give you that information. So make sure you do not miss this class. All right. But understand, I want you to think, even if you're thinking about doing one-on-one, I want you to think about setting up a portion of your business where you actually do group coaching, counseling, or course building. It's very, very important that you don't leave that particular group out. Okay. Do you need a support team? Yes, you do need a support team. You need a team that's going to come and explain to you what to do when you don't know what to do. I'm trying to tell y'all, I literally, in the last inning of the game, when I was one time about to quit, I had a godsend. That's all I can call her, was a godsend. She's about $75,000 a year coaching. Let me put some things in perspective. Good coaches usually run you, if you're going to work with them for the whole year, they're going to run you somewhere between $20,000 and $100,000. I don't charge that much. I don't charge nearly that much. But I understood what I needed to know. But I also understood the people that I want to talk to, the people that are entrepreneurs or in a new space, they may not have that kind of business. I mean, they may not have that money. Do I have clients that will pay me that? Yes, absolutely I do. But I had to build up to that. But as you all are embarking into this space, I want you to think about what type of support will you put in place when you don't know what to do. If you have to write email campaigns, and we're going to talk about that a little later, actually on tomorrow. What if you're not a good writer? What if you're really not good at putting thoughts together? What if you don't know how to do a marketing or branding campaign? You're going to need a support system. And I don't have to hire everybody that I need, but there's certain people and certain things that I know that I need to free up my time. It's not that I cannot do it. And to all of you all creatives out there, I know that you can do a million things. I get it. But when you're setting up a lucrative money building business in coaching, you need to have a team that will help you, even if they just come and help you 2 days out of the month to get certain things done, whether it's for social media, whether it's coming up with what you're going to talk about if you're going to do lives, whether it is to do your email campaigns, whether it is to create another product or service for you. Maybe you know what you want to talk about, but you can have somebody to come and transcribe. You can even do that on Fiverr.com. Have them to transcribe maybe a class that you taught or maybe a recording that you did privately and say, make this into a book. And then you hire somebody. And we have a graphic artist on staff here, but you can also get good graphics for really good prices on Fiverr as well. And we have the people that do graphics for me. They're going to charge you right around $50 to $100, depending on what you want, especially for books and things like that. But understand, you have people who will take what you say and then you narrate it, and then they will transpose it and put it in a way that reads well in a book, in a manual, in a ebook, whatever it is, in a workbook, in a journal. And we're going to talk about, again, those products and services that you can offer. But I want you to think about this. You need to go into this knowing I cannot do it by myself, but I also don't have to incur a salary for me to get to the place that I am in. When it comes to you figuring out how much you're worth, we're going to talk about your worth in our next session. Not the next session, actually. My husband is coming for the next session, Scott McCrary. But we're going to talk about the value that you give and how much you can charge for that value that you're going to give in exchange for their money. All right. So let's do this. Let me see how we are on time. Can you tell me with any of your questions, if you have any questions thus far, can you please go in? Let's see. We're about to do questions and answers now. Right now, Kira. We sure are. Okay. Many of you all are saying, let's see. Let me go and check this out. Are you all getting anything out of this? Let me know if you're getting let me know if you're getting anything out of this. All right. You need to, Crystal said, I need to find my niche, and we can help you do that. We can help you do that. How do you find it? All right. You love cosmetics and can talk about makeup all day. People ask me for just suggestions, and I wanted to become a makeup artist until I met you on Facebook. And now I want to train about 5 women to work for me and my company and travel as a makeup artist while I'm at home. That is a very, very lucrative business. Very, very lucrative. And not only can you train them, you can create a tour. Many of you all don't realize you can create your own tour and have companies to finance it, or you can have sponsors to finance your tour where you can take your know-how different places. I mean, these kids on Instagram, they are killing it in the game, doing it in the beauty industry. So that's definitely something you can do. If you have any questions, go ahead and put your questions below and we're going to answer. I'm already on page 3 in my notebook. Well, this is good. Awesome. I'm glad you're getting value out of this. Yes, this is very informative. Do you all have any questions thus far? Any questions thus far on setting up your business, knowing the problem that you solve, anything on your archetype builder, anything on what your name should be? Let's see, your teaching style, how to develop your teaching style. Do you all have any questions on that? How to establish you should be a group coach or one-on-one, setting boundaries for yourself. All right. We do know you need a support team. And of course, let me say this. Of course, I'm going to toot my own horn. I happen to believe that I'm one of the best coaches that you know in business, specifically as it relates to making money doing it. I'm not going to tell you something that I don't know. And I'm going to tell you, if I don't know it, Lord Jesus, if I don't know it, I know where to find it. So I don't want you all to ever think, well, what if I ask for something she don't know? It ain't too much I don't know. I don't say that arrogantly. It's just because I spent a lot of money investing into my own education to make sure that when I talk to people that are just like you, that are just like me, that I come not empty-handed or with I don't know, but I come with this is the solution. Okay, let's see. Here's a question. You're thinking of a name. What's next after I establish my customer? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the how do you serve your customer and what you're going to offer your customer. We're going to talk about that the next session that we're going to do. All right. Your team is just me. That's okay. When I first started, my team was me and my iPhone. It was me and my iPhone and Canva for all of my graphics. That was my team. We were a team of one until I was able to realize I need somebody to do my graphics. I don't have time for all of this. And then I got Claude, and Claude came in and he helped me with that part. And he's a great, brilliant creative. And so he helped me figure out some things that I needed to do. And then I would come up with products and services and he would put a face to them, and it started like that. So all you need to start is your cell phone, a platform, and an audience and a product. All right. When doing hashtags, are you just reiterating your target audience as a whole or just based on what you are talking about at the time? Both of them. You want to do that for both. And so you're wanting to, if you ever go to my Instagram, if you go to my Instagram, Tira McCrary, you will see where I put information there, but I'll use a hashtag. And I'm always thinking, and I have my group of hashtags that I have an Apple, so I put it in my notes section. And I have 10 different sets of hashtags that I use for different types of posts. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. And so with those different types of posts, I might put winning, I might put relationship goals, but then at the same time, I'm going to put relationship conference. You understand what I'm saying? And even when we're on social media, we want to make sure that we're putting, 60 or 70% information of what information, letting people know who we are, letting them engage to us. But you want to also take about 20% and push what it is that you do. People need to see the humanity of who you are, how you interact every day. It's just the reality TV world we now live in, even with, you know, the view and the talk and everything like that. People want to feel like they know who they're talking to or who's going to be helping them, specifically if you want them to spend your money. So you want to reach them with hashtags. What are they already doing? And that's why I said know where they're, if they'd like to travel to Fiji, you need to be tagging Fiji. You know, if you know that they're, you know, what's happening right now, Jesse Smollett, you know, LGBTQ, I miss LGBTQ, and then there's one other one they just added. If I know that I've got something that's going to pertain to them, then I'm going to hashtag them. If I know that if it's something that's going to pertain to a millionaire mindset or mindset building or entrepreneurism, I'm going to put that hashtag that there. And it just may be, you know, me sitting out on a yacht. It may be me at Copeland's. It may be, you know, me writing down or having a new apparatus that I'm showing off. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, so here it is. What kind of people should my team consist of? You want to have somebody that can do the visual portion, which like I was saying, Claude, I have another brander. His name is Sean. He does a lot of business for me. He's a partner with me in my business. You want to have somebody that can help you write out your words so that you can do those email campaigns. And Jessica is going to talk to you about that in case that's not your thing. If you like to write, if you're like her, she's a brilliant brain. She likes writing all that kind of stuff and coming up with stuff, then you don't need that. But you definitely going to need somebody, and even you're going to need someone that can help you stay on target. Like I'm like really over time. But she let me know you over your time a long time ago. All right, and I hope that answered your question. So right now, focus on you and who puts the brand out. You know, what kind of branding you're going to use, what kind of imagery you're going to use when you're not talking or when you're not in front of a person to let a person know that you're available. So whatever kind of marketing information, let's start there and just have your cell phone. All right. How broad can my target be? I'm thinking women 21 to 44 year nonprofit. Well, if that's who you want to serve, Kia, then I don't see why not. I don't see why not. If you're doing, are you the one that's doing makeup? Let me see if you're the one that's doing makeup. Let's see. Oh, goodness. No, that was Tracy that's doing makeup. Kara, tell me what you're doing. Let's see here. I want to go back to Philip. I serve the big and tall men's fashion community. I make jewelry for everyone, men and women, but focus is on big and tall men. Listen, he's already figured out his niche. Don't go to regular size men, honey. Keep it right there. My husband and I, we were talking about last night. Starting a women's line of professional line of clothing for women that you don't find at a D&K or K&G or something like that. And he said, but what do you do when women are in shape and they're curvy? I said, well, specialize on curvy women, creating products for them. You can go buy athletic or traditional and working clothes, but find your niche. Okay. Let's see. I think that target market, depending on what you're doing, is really, really good though. Specifically for people who are spending money. Is there a budget you should set out being a coach so far as startup? Lavana, I will say this, no. When I started with no money. I had none to invest into my company. What I did was I actually spent a lot of money on buying products from my coach because I did not see the value in paying her $70,000 in a year. I didn't see the value in that. I didn't understand the investment that was required, nor did I want to make that type of investment. So what I did was I got on every course she was doing. I got on every class. And so if the class was $2,500, I would do it. If the class was, $79, I would do it. I would pick up every book and I would read. And so right now, your only expense really is going to be your email campaigns, where you're going to put your email at your platforms that you're going to utilize to get your information out. And if you're on social media, if you're going to do ads, that's pretty much it. But you can talk on social media for free to begin to build up that know, like, and trust factor, because those numbers I gave you guys, those millions and billions of people, that's where they are. All right. Doll by Design, developing your individual beauty from the inside out, for my business name on trademark. Doll by Design. Yes, your tagline is developing your individual beauty from the inside out. Okay, that's pretty good, Tracy. I like that. Yeah, I do like that. If I didn't like it, I would honestly tell you. I had to think about, let that sink in for a minute. I hashtag like crazy and get a few likes, but I want to turn likes into dollars. Okay, Philip. So what happens is you need to go to, and let me just give you this information. You need to go, and this is for anyone. You need to go find people who are niching out the same kind of niche that you have and see what kind of, if they're not a very, very established brand, see what type of engagement they are getting. All right, you need to see what hashtags they're using and try those hashtags out. You're going to have to kind of move them around a little bit, interject some, take some out that are not getting the kind of hits. And the other thing is, if you're on Instagram, you'll be able to see, let me see if I can pull up something really quickly, and then we're going to transition to the next presenter. Okay, I'm going to go to my Instagram really quickly. All right. Let me do this one. Okay. Let me see if I can get, I didn't use a hashtag on some of these. Okay, this is a picture. Can you all see this? Let me pull this up. Can you all see this? I don't know if you all can see this. My glare is kind of bright. All right, you can see this, I think. All right, it's a picture of me and my husband from our photo shoot. All right, and so on here, I said, when two bosses get together and pray, supernatural strategies and creativity is released. I'm telling them what I want them to focus on. But also, I gave them some information. I said, pray first, make your move second. And then I have McCrary Magic, and I have hashtag Black Love, hashtag Global Entrepreneur, Black Excellence, okay, Black History Month, because I understand it's in February. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, the Atlanta Housewives, the Atlanta Homes Magazine, because the house is featured in Atlanta Homes, Living by Faith, Entrepreneur, Millionaire Mindset. So what I did was I just pushed the millionaire mindset, and it's 3.3 million people right now that's using this hashtag. So I want to make sure that I come up in here, because everybody that has a millionaire mindset, that's what they're talking about. So if you're talking about bespoke, if you're talking about large men, if you're talking about the bearded men, if you're talking about a specific body type, listen, you want to hashtag all of those. That's for Philip. And then the way you turn your likes or your hashtags into dollars is that you realize that whatever those people who are utilizing those hashtags that's liking that page and those hashtags, you go to those people's pages and you actually start interacting with them. Make sure that they're not a bot page or fake page, but make sure that you can interact with them. Go into their DMs. Hey, I love what you posted. Make comments underneath their posts and say, hey, check out my business. Unless they are promoting their business in that post, do not do that, because then you'll get blocked for doing that. That's phishing. But to say, hey, check out my page. We have a lot in common. You might be talking to the person who posted it, but everybody else who likes their hashtags is also going to see it. And if they're nosy, which is most people, they're going to go push it. Oh, what does he have? Oh, bet. Let me go in and let me follow them. And so hopefully that makes sense. What service can I provide for a customer service consulting firm? That is my LLC. What services can I provide for a customer service consulting firm? That is my LLC idea, but I need a name. I don't quite understand your question, sweetheart. What service can I provide for a customer service consulting firm? There's a lot of services you can provide based on who you're going to serve, Kia. I know you're doing the beauty part, right? I don't want to get people mixed up. Yeah. You're doing the beauty part. Let's see. Let me think about that. Life coaching, okay. Strategically helping people reach long-term goals. If you're going to be a life coach, I would suggest that you would consider signing up for our life coaching portion. Hold on, let me I'm not quite sure who came in. Let me go and mute them so that they're not in the recording. Let's see. This is your LLC, but I need a name. Life coaching, strategically helping people reach their long-term goals. Well, that's what a life coach does, but I'm trying to figure out, are you a specific service? What services can I provide for a customer service consulting firm? You know what, when Scott comes on, he may be able to give you some suggestions, but I don't want to give you an answer off the top of my head. That's a good question. I want to think that through. What kind of services for customer service? Because I would really have to do some research. What area are you in? I know you're servicing women that are, I think you said 21 to 40 something or something, but what are the issues, what are the problems that they're having, so that you'll know what kind of services to provide, because you just don't want to put services out there and that's not what they need. So are they dealing with life crisis? Are they dealing with transition? Are they dealing with divorce? Are they dealing with trying to find the love of their life? They're dealing with time management, with life balance? Are they dealing with, confidence? What are they dealing with? So that's the kind of the products I think that you're talking about. What service can I provide for customer service consulting firm? If you're talking about just customer service, it depends on what type of customer service that you're offering. Are you talking about for the life coaching? Or are you talking about another company? I'm a little confused, so I'm sorry. I hope that I'm able to give an answer. And then we're going to do this one. Kira, okay, so I have 2 ideas. I wanted to do a nonprofit called the Project. You want to get it, okay? Okay, all right, okay. All right, what you would do, we need to do a one-on-one, because that has a whole lot of different parts to it. Okay, so it would be a different company from the coaching. Okay, yeah, because that's why I was a little bit confused. Okay, Lavana, you can contract your service to any business that would need to train their staff on how to be a customer service skill professional and retention. Yeah, you can, but see, here's the thing. I wasn't clear. Was she talking about the initial company she was talking about, or was she talking about a customer service company? So that's great information, Lavana. Yeah, you can do that. But we need to definitely find out who your customer is that you're going to be providing customer service to and what their problem is. And then that will tell you what you need to offer. So that's the bottom line to that one. But we can definitely get an opportunity to talk. And definitely, because you're in this class, shoot me an email and we're going to spend some time. And what I'm going to do with everybody that's on here, I'm going to gift you a 30-minute session. So you're going to get a 30-minute session, but you need to have this session before the end of April. So we have some openings in March and we have some in April. So I'm going to do a 30-minute session with you so that we can really flesh out some of your ideas so that you'll know that you're going in the right direction. And that's going to be absolutely free because you invested in yourself. Well, listen, this is going to conclude our first session. I'm really, really excited about this. Hopefully you got something out of it. We have a whole lot to give you. We're probably going to go over a little bit over our 3 hours today. Ooh, I hope not, but I think that's what's going to end up happening. But I'm going to present to you. Is Patrick Scott ready? I'm going to present to you your next presenter. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. Oh, actually, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. So it's 12:38 right now. What I'm going to ask that you would do is get ready for our next presenter. He's going to come at 12:45. And so I'm going to play some music for you and we're going to get right back into this. All right. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat.